All right. So, Lewis, can you just kind of start off with just a basic intro and what you do for American Eagle?
Yeah, absolutely. I am the director of sales and marketing for the U.S. and Canada for American Eagle Instruments. I've been on the job since January of 2011,
Hmm.
3.5 years. I'm not a career dental guy. Came to American Eagle after having spent about 20 years in surgical urology and gynecology. I come from the medical side of healthcare, and my connection is that the wife of the CEO of American Eagle Instruments is a nurse, is
Hmm.
an RN. In my previous company, I managed um, a chunk of the country, but I also managed a team of nurses, and she was my lead nurse. Um, so the referral to Brad Heckerman eventually happened, and made the transition over into dental. Here we are 3.5 years later. Um, Best move I ever made.
Yeah. Were you doing marketing too for that company, or is something different?
Just doing marketing on a regional level, so not nearly as involved as our marketing efforts are with American Eagle,
Yeah.
and significantantly different on over there. And the big difference is that here in the world of dentistry, we have Henry Schein, we got Patterson, we've got Benco and Burkhardt and Darby and all these huge dealers. That's not the sales and distribution model that we have over on the surgical side of things, medical side of things. Everything is sold direct to the hospital, to the surgery center, to the physician. So yeah, the sales model is different. The sales and distribution model is different, but the marketing model is significantly different.
Right. Do you guys sell through all those suppliers, Benco and
We do.
everybody? You do?
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. I buy mine through Practicon just because it's easier. I know most hygienists don't buy their own instruments, but I do. I know some do.
Love Practicon. They've been on
Yeah.
board with us for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
I work very closely with them.
And they make it super easy. I know, like a lot of the other ones, you have to kind of go through. I work for a corporation, so they go through Benco. That's their main supplier.
Yeah.
They make it pretty difficult as far as they have certain items on the list you can order. You know.
Right
So
on the formulary.
yeah, so they make it difficult, and especially if you're a hygienist buying your own stuff. I just buy my own stuff, on my own.
Yeah.
And Practicon makes it super easy. Never had an issue like trying to buy through, whatever, just Benco or something. I can't. It's just a pain.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh, Um,
I'll tell you something else about that
yeah.
model, and one of the reasons why you love Practicon so much. Some of the larger dealers, for whatever reason I've yet to figure out, they are not supportive of a hygienist having their own account.
Right. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I do not get that. So more power to Practicon, seeing that as a great opportunity.
Yeah. And Pearson is one too. I don't know if you guys sell through Pearson Dental too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the same way. It's pretty easy. Other companies that I buy from, they do allow a hygienist to have an account. Of course, a lot of times they call me doctor because they assume I'm a doctor.
Right. Right.
Like I think half my catalog say doctor on it.
Yeah.
I even correct them, and they still like, all right,
Doesn't
doctor,
matter.
have a
Forget
good
it.
day.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
a
all right,
losing
yeah,
battle.
thanks.
Just
Whatever. Can you give us a little background about the company, Lewis? How long they've been around, how long they've been in Montana and all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So about 23 years ago, there existed a company in Missoula, Montana, by the name of um, American Dental Manufacturing Corp.
Hmm.
And what is affectionately referred to as the old American Dental.
Right.
American Dental was a very successful hand instrument company. They had a nice following. They had some very unique instrument patterns, and Hugh Freedy came in and bought American Dental,
Mm-hmm.
and initially, promises were made to the 60 or 65 employees that the doors to American Dental would remain open as long as the company remained profitable. And the way that I understand it, I was obviously not around, but the way that I understand it is that the company was very profitable, but nonetheless the company was shuttered less than a year after it was purchased. And none of those jobs were moved out of Missoula, Montana to Chicago. Missoula, Montana 23 years ago was a heck of a lot smaller than it is today, and it's pretty small today.
Right.
I think Missoula probably has 70, 75, 80,000 people today.
Yeah.
22, 23 years ago was a lot smaller. So putting 60 people out of work obviously was a huge hit to the tax base. And long story short, a local Missoula guy was recruited to come in and look at considering starting a dental hand instrument company. And this gentleman didn't have the first clue what hand instruments were all about. In fact, had never worked in dentistry before, but took a lot of comfort in knowing that there was a lot of refugees from the old American Dental that were experts. So American Eagle Instruments was founded by 17 refugees from the old American Dental Manufacturing Corp, and that became American Eagle Instruments, and so the company was born 22 years ago.
That's quite a while. I was thinking it was relatively new, but I've been doing this only since 2007, so I'm kind of relatively new at this too. But
Right. So 22 years ago, and Missoula, Montana is an interesting place as far as dental businesses go. The old Thompson Dental was Missoula, Montana based, and the PDT is a Missoula, Montana based company. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting how that's all happened in that small town.
I've been to Montana a couple of times. I've been to Billings and some other places, Fort Belknap.
Mm-hmm.
I love Montana. I was married in Montana, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I love Montana, too. Every month that I'm up there, normally a nice week, it's nice to get out of the sweat box that is North Texas in July, August, September, and get up there. Yeah, it's nice.
I was there in the summer every time, so I've experienced the cold wind.
It's the best time to be up there. Winter time's great because I ski, but summer's great.
Yeah. So what point did they start with the XP technology? How old is that? How long has that been around?
Yeah, when I tell you, it's going to freak you out because a lot of people don't realize that XP technology is going on 9 years old.
Oh.
Now, it's been through several iterations, and every iteration has been better than its predecessors. So, XP technology today is significantly better than what it was years ago. It's certainly a lot better than what it was in the very early on. But yeah, it's without a doubt it has become kind of the calling card for American Eagle Instruments, kind of what the company is known for. Mm-hmm. But hey, it's not like we're without our struggles. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. There's a lot of mistruths, and a lot of rumors are perpetuated by others and such. So it's a constant battle of educating folks on what it is, why it is, how it works. Because it's, for the most part, not in hygiene schools.
Oh no!
So we're kind of forced into a changing established habits of hygiene, and you know how difficult that can be.
Yeah, especially in schools, very established protocols, and it's tough to change.
It is. But in my 25-something years in business, I've never ever run across customers of any product that are as loyal to anything as hygienists are to that instrument.
Oh yeah.
You know, we don't go backwards in our utilization of technology. Once a dental hygienist falls in love with this whole sharpen free aspect, this very light scaling stroke aspect, they typically don't go back to using stainless steel instruments. It's very, very
Yeah.
rare unless it becomes a price thing and the doctor kind of, you know, lays the hammer down on
Right.
this is the way it's going to be in this practice, and the hygienist doesn't do what you do, and that's buy their own instruments. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's short-term thinking. Like if like that blog post that I wrote that you saw
Yeah.
about the cost of sharpening, you know, it's I mean, you can buy stainless steel instruments for $20 less, but the time it takes to sharpen, and you know, and half the time, I mean, I'm the same way. Like you said, oh, you know, I got to sharpen this week, and then you're like, you know, I'm tired, or it's been a busy day, and you don't do it, and then it goes on 2 weeks, and you know, I mean, that's just the reality of things. Like nobody wants to do it. Yeah.
You know what? I had lunch with Cheryl Frazier today, who's a dental hygienist over in Fort Worth. Just somebody that I had never sat down and hadn't spent any time with. You know, she's relatively well known in certain social media circles and such, and she's somebody I wanted to get to know a little bit. She pointed out something to me that I hadn't thought about. You read a lot. We read a lot. Whether it be in blogs, social media, whatever, a lot of people asking questions about production-based hygiene versus, you know, straight salaries and whatever. And Cheryl was telling me that she's paid on production,
Right.
and production only. And she says, "Look, I'm losing money if I'm sharpening instruments.
Yeah.
I can't be sharpening instruments. It absolutely hammers me financially since I'm a production-based. I'm paid on production. I
Right.
never thought about that. It's a very compelling argument for the hygienist. The argument for the dentist obviously is very different. You know, if she wasn't one of my favorite questions to ask a dentist is, number one, do you pay her to sharpen? A lot of times the doctor does pay the hygienist to sharpen.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a no-show,
Yeah.
she or he is still earning money.
Yeah.
Well, the question I like to ask the dentist, and oftentimes this is with the hygienist standing right next to the dentist at some conference.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking at XP in a very loving way, like, oh, and he's like looking around, uncomfortable, knowing that these instruments cost more.
Mm-hmm.
And engaging that dentist in a business discussion
Right.
is not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Doc, let me ask you a quick question. You're paying her to sharpen her instruments. If she could recapture that time, that valuable time, if we can agree that time is money, and obviously everybody agrees with that, if we can agree that time is money, if she wasn't spending time sharpening, might she be a more productive employee for the practice? For example, if she's sharpening instruments half hour a week,
Mm-hmm.
2 hours a month, what could she instead be doing with that time?
Right.
You know, could she sell an extra? Pardon the she, but you know.
Right. Oh, I got that through hygiene school.
Yeah. You know, if he or she wasn't sharpening for 2 hours a month, might your hygienist be able to sell an extra whitening procedure a month?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, what does that mean to the bottom line of the practice? And it's a business discussion.
Right.
And, you know, one of the things that we found is dental hygienists don't know how to have that discussion.
Right.
You know, we created a pretty cool piece called Power to the Hygienist. It's meant to empower the hygienist
Mm-hmm.
to have this business discussion in a very simple way. It's a simple ROI analysis. Here's what you pay me.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you charge for the average prophy. And here's what that translates into. If I wasn't sharpening, I could be doing this. It's a very simple thing. And it's that nice little piece is not on our website today, but it will be next week.
I know a lot of hygienists, you know, they don't want to buy their own instruments, or they feel they shouldn't have to buy their own instruments. My next blog post is going to be about this, why I think hygienists should consider it at least.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of cases, like in my case, my employer, you know, they're okay with buying stuff, but they're not going to buy exactly what I want. And to me, for the cost, like the yearly cost, you know, I have like maybe 6 or 7 basic sets, you know, Cavitron tips, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Overall, it doesn't cost that much, and it makes your experience as a hygienist so much better. And if your employer is willing to maybe get half of what you want, and you supplement the rest,
At least take that.
yeah, it's so worth the money. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so worth the money. Because I always ask hygienists, if they paid you, say $38 an hour, but you had crappy instruments, or they paid you, $35 an hour, but you had like all the stuff you wanted. I'd rather work for less and have all the stuff I want and enjoy going to work and all that. So
absolutely. With regard to pricing of instruments, I again kind of tipping my hat to the smart people over in the Hugh Freedy camp. The best candidate for XP technology is the EverEdge using it hygienist, because they already value quality.
Yep.
And they're already paying a premium for their instruments. When Hugh Freedy brought their EverEdge instruments to market, XP technology was already on the market. And so let's say XP is priced right here.
Right.
Hugh Freedy very, very smartly came in and they priced EverEdge right there.
Yeah, a couple of dollars maybe. Yeah.
A couple dollars cheaper, and yet it's apples and oranges. You sharpen this thing.
Oh yeah.
You sharpen an EverEdge is a stainless steel instrument that you need to sharpen. XP is not, and yet they've created very smartly. They've created this apples to apples. It's very much apples and oranges. Yeah. If XP is here, EverEdge is here. Our Talon Tough stainless steel instruments are down here. This is the apples to apples.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just it's constant education. You want an EverEdge instrument? Save yourself $10 an instrument and go down here.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, in hygiene school for us, we had to buy instruments, and of course the school had a contract with Hugh Freedy, so that's what we started with EverEdge.
Of course.
And that's what I knew.
Right.
For a long time, and then I've tried many different brands. I went to PDT. I still have PDT instruments. I still have Hugh Freedy too. Right now I'm all it's a total mixture, but I'm slowly transitioning over to the all XP technology.
Yeah.
To me it's a no-brainer for me personally, but it's
It is to me too.
Yeah.
You and I are in the minority.
Yeah. I mean the EverEdge and they're all excellent instruments, but to me that no sharpening thing is fantastic. But
so let me ask you a question, because this kind of goes into the whole education piece.
Yeah.
When I'm lecturing, I have to be very careful, because I can't call anybody's baby ugly, if you know what I mean. I can't get up there and say Hugh Freedy says that, you know what I mean.
Yeah. So
let me ask you a question, all honesty.
Yeah.
What is EverEdge? When the rep at a show says, Mark, this is EverEdge technology, what is that person saying? Do you know?
The advertising is that the edge, the sharpness is going to last longer, which it does, but you still have to sharpen. That's the thing.
So EverEdge refers to a manufacturing process.
Right.
Just simplified down, because I've never been to Hugh Freedy headquarters, but simplified down, they take their stainless steel and they put them in these really big ovens, and they crank up the fire, and they drive the carbon content of the steel up, and they make it harder. Harder equals more durable.
Right.
More durable means, and this is right out of their literature, more durable means will retain an edge for longer between required resharpening.
Right.
Right out of their literature. Here's the nasty little secret, and this is the thing that I can't talk about really, because it's not right in public forums.
Right.
But we all do that.
Right. You're right.
We all cryogenically heat treat our stainless steel. Hugh Freedy was not the first. But the name EverEdge is a magical name, and it's a very powerful marketing message. The name of that instrument, I love the name. I wish we had come up with that name.
Right. Yeah.
What does XP mean?
Yeah. Right.
Extreme, by the way, stands for extreme performance. But what did he do?
Right.
I love the name EverEdge. So yeah, that's a lot of people don't understand that. If you look closely at the advertisements whether it be from Premier, PBT, anybody.
Right.
Most of these companies are looking for the sharpening angle, for the sharpening advantage.
Yeah.
And they all, EverEdge is its own strategy because of the name is so great. But most of the other companies, if you look at their ad in RDH Magazine or Access or whatever, the ad almost always speaks to unique cryogenic formula or patented heat treat process, or we all do it.
Right.
We all have EverEdge-like technology, but they're all a little bit different. We might keep our instruments in our ovens for a minute longer than they do. Gases are typically used in the heat treat process. Hydrogen and argon are common, but how much hydrogen, how much argon? It might be a mixture or less or more. So everybody's a little bit, they might be 2 degrees hotter than us, or who knows. But at the end of the day, it's a big old oven. It's really, really hot, and we're driving the carbon content of the steel up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it too, Lewis, is that because U3D is in. I mean, they were in my hygiene school. They're probably in quite a few hygiene schools, right? I mean, you in the.
I would say greater than 90% or more.
Yeah. So, and I think most hygienists are pretty conservative with things, and they get used to something, and they stick with it. They don't want to try something new. They're afraid.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They don't want to feel like that. They don't know how to use something.
I tell you another challenge that we fight with, and again, getting back to the cleverness, the unique, the awesome name that is EverEdge. I'll be in the field, or I'll be at a conference, let's say, and the words "sharpen free instruments" comes out of my mouth. Well, XP technology, the gold tips here are instruments that you don't have to sharpen, and oftentimes the knee-jerk reaction on the part of the hygienist is, I've tried that, it doesn't work.
Right.
And what they've tried is EverEdge, and the name has led them to believe that it holds an edge forever.
Right.
And when it doesn't, when it requires sharpening, they feel to a certain extent that they've been misled. And so again, we're forced into this, oh God, I got to educate this person because this hygienist has no idea what the heck I'm talking about. Yeah.
And plus you mentioned too, I've heard you mention on some other videos, and it's something that I didn't do myself, but I mean, I was doing it anyway, but I didn't realize it. Like when I scale with any instrument, really, I don't really go like hard, like go below the calculus and grab it like that, because I like to try to be gentle with the patient, so I try to go like just kind of shave away at it.
Yeah.
And I do that. I mean, with the XP instruments, obviously, but it works better with the XP technology. But that's something that you brought up that I thought was interesting that I didn't think about. Like the way you use the instruments is a little bit different too.
Mark, it's another challenge of getting into hygiene schools. I've actually had, I can't tell you how many conversations with hygiene directors who they love the concept. They believe their hygienist or their soon-to-graduate hygienist or whatever are certainly deserving, they're entitled to the information.
Right.
But then this comes up. So let me get this straight. You want us to actually teach 2 different scaling techniques?
Right.
In other words, you want to complicate my life like that? I get it. We're asking it makes your job harder.
Right. Yeah.
But that. Believe it or not, that is a big obstacle.
And it's the same issue too. With even if you're an instructor, you have been a hygienist for 20 years. I mean, you have this. Some have the same attitude. They're very conservative. They don't want to. They know what they know, and they don't want to.
It ain't broken.
They don't want to. They don't want to look stupid and say, "I don't know how to do this. I'm the instructor."
Well, one of the things that I did when I got to American Eagle is I literally, after I kind of figured the job out, I literally quadrupled my free goods budget because there's nothing more impactful than putting one of our instruments in a hygienist's hands. And as long as the hygienist is properly educated about this, this light scaling technique and cut yourself a break, loosen up your grip and all that kind of stuff that you heard in that video. There's no stronger sales tool that we have in our bag than the instrument itself.
And I'm a big proponent of, doing most of my scaling with ultrasonic and
Of
then
course.
kind of supplement with hand scaling.
Right.
Some people advocate, you don't have to hand scale, but I disagree. I think you have to hand scale a little bit. Um, and of course,
Yeah, I
doing
think
that,
most people would agree with that.
yeah, and you have to, and that'll save the instrument too, so it's going to last, even longer.
Right.
The ones I
It'll
have
stay in your
now,
hands too.
yeah, the ones I have now, my XP instruments I have for about 13 months now, and
Still
yeah,
usable.
still pretty sharp. They're not like they were in the beginning, but it's pretty
Right.
amazing. To have an instrument for a year that you can still use.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pretty damn good, no doubt.
Because your standard stainless steel, they ship them. Like any company, they're gonna ship them, pretty sharp, and you have to sharpen them within 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever, something like that. But these,
Yeah.
the XP ones, they probably stayed like super sharp for months, and then slowly it would go away. But even now, like I said, it's very functional still. I'm about to buy a bunch soon here, but just to have all new sets, and get rid of my other ones.
Hey, Mads, honey, can you come close my office door, please? Thank you, baby. Daughter just got home from school and talking to mom, and
yeah. So I was saying, so for me, it's they definitely stay sharp.
oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like I said, the hygienists that use them, they love them.
Yeah.
They absolutely love the instruments.
And what I use, Louis, I try to keep things super simple. I basically have two instruments. I still use a U3D one, but I'm gonna pretty much get rid of that. So all I have basically is the blackjack, which is the popular one, and I have the 5/6 universal.
The Barnhart.
Yep, that's it. And but you guys have that 11, 12, 13, 14 Gracie double.
The double Gracie.
I'm gonna probably try that. Maybe just have like maybe 2 or 3 or something as for Perio, but I'm probably gonna try that.
Were you trained on Gracies? Have you used Gracies in your career? Yeah. That being the case, you will fall in love with that instrument. Really efficient, really cool, being able to move from mesial to distal surface without flipping. Very cool.
Yeah.
Really efficient instrument.
Mm-hmm.
You'll love that instrument. The double Gracie, the blackjack, a mirror and explorer. You're not going to need much else.
Yeah, like in school, they had us set up with these massive cassettes, with I don't know, like maybe 10 instruments, something like that.
Yeah.
And I just found, over the years that I kept cutting back to basic instruments, especially with your routine patients, like ultrasonic scaler, basically 2 instruments, hand instruments for me.
Right.
And that too makes it for a hygienist to buy their own instruments much cheaper. If you only have to buy 2 or maybe 3 if you wanted the double Gracie.
Yeah.
Like that.
So just to give you a little bit of an insight into kind of how things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take you back in time a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
The original double Gracie was the Scandet.
Right.
And that was the name of that instrument. We kind of tipped our hat to the roots of the instrument, which was in Finland with LM Dental, Scandinavia.
Right.
That's where the design of that instrument kind of originated, was with LM. But trying to resharpen those itty-bitty dual blades is practically impossible, and that instrument just really, it was very popular, and then it kind of dropped off because hygienists couldn't sharpen it.
Right.
Well, the Scandet was so popular in XP technology that we started taking requests from hygienists to expand the line. Hey, how about an anterior version? What about this instrument in a mini version? Shorten the blade, lengthen the shank, and all the whole thing. There was great debate. In our conference room at the home office about. We knew that it was a killer idea to come out with an anterior double Gracie, a 1278, and to come out with those same 2 instruments in mini versions.
Mm-hmm.
But there was great debate on if we should.
Right.
Because this meant that hygienists could take their setups from 8 instruments down to 4, or 8 to 5, or 9 to 4, 9 to 5. And when you're a company, when you're profit driven, and you want to reward your employees with profit sharing plans and do all the things that companies like to do for their people, the prospect of selling less instruments, that's something that should that should be discussed.
Right.
So it was not a very long discussion. Fact of the matter is, we've got American Eagle Instruments has about 12% of the hygiene instrument market.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there's 88% of the market out there that we can affect and impress with these very unique instruments, kind of 2 instruments in one. And we can't really worry about the 12% we have buying 25% less instruments from us than they have normally bought before. It became completely an inconsequential, subject.
Right.
But it was an interesting discussion nonetheless.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Now, I think if that had been a Hugh Freedy discussion, that might have been very lively. Who knows what where they would have gone with that, had they been the company that was faced with that decision to make. But for us, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the right thing to do, especially in these economic times. If we can show, yes, our instruments cost more, but you'll be using less. If we can make it as painless as possible to get into sharpen-free instruments, we want to take every opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to try that double Gracie at some point.
You'll love it.
Yeah, because I basically use the 5.6 in the same way, but it's it's not really made for that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Gracie is more for a sub-gingival instrument, so it's more for that kind of scaling.
Right, it is. Yeah.
All right, Louis, I wanted to ask you about, do you guys employ hygienists, and and what capacity do you do, if you do, at American Eagle? Do you guys?
We don't have any directly employed hygienists currently, like employees of the company.
Right.
We have a consultant hygienist in Missoula, Montana that I copy on a lot of emails. Heidi Halverson is involved in product development, product testing, training, some of our marketing, run ideas by her first, whatever. In the field, we employ, that would be to mean that we compensate, numerous hygienists. Whether it be in the way of assisting us with our schools penetration. We have a program where we have hygienists out there that that we want to leverage, that can assist us with our schools penetration. After all, there's nothing better than an hygienist speaking to a hygienist about our instruments. At the end of the day, I'm a sales guy. I get that.
Yeah.
And also assisting us with hands-on seminars. I attended one of Anna Pattison's hands-on seminars in late 2012, and it was very, very good. She had 4 American Eagle instruments placed in front of the 70 hygienists that were there, and something like 75 Hugh Freedy instruments.
Right.
And then there were also, like, I don't know, don't quote me on this, something like 10 Hartzell instruments and another 8 Brasler instruments. And so it's an all-day thing. You pay a lot of money to be there as a corporate partner of this whole thing, and 4 of 100 instruments are mine.
Right.
And I left there thinking that was great. I think that people got a lot out of it. I think there's a lot that can be taught with instruments. But if you put 100 instruments in front of a hygienist, I just don't think that's the answer.
Right.
I think that is information overload. I saw it with my own eyes. And so we came up with the idea we're going to do our own XP Technology hands-on seminars to teach this technique, to show double Gracies, to help people understand, why these instruments are special. But not only that, most importantly, have a hygienist be the one in charge to kind of relay that message. And so We have employed, again, we've paid, we've compensated four or five hygienists around the country. Diane Millar out in California, Karen Siebert in Chicago, Eileen Morrissey up in that Philly area. And these are well-known names. Eileen's an RDH magazine columnist. Karen and Diane are both faculty hygiene instructors.
Yeah.
Liz Neese is not. Liz was out of Idaho, now lives in Colorado. Liz has done some hands-on for us, not faculty, but has written, speaks, and is the lead hygiene trainer for Perfect Teeth, big corporate entity.
Yeah.
And Suzanne Newkirk in Atlanta has done some hands-on for us. So, really well-known folks, but we want to do more of that, and I would like to bring on more. It's expensive to fly. Right. I was just asked for a hands-on XP seminar in Florida yesterday via email. Well, for me to make that happen, I got to put somebody on an airplane. I'd really rather have a well-known, well-respected hygienist down in that neck of the woods that could do that for me. So I'm on the constant lookout to add to our field expert team of hygienists.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up, Louis, because I know a lot of hygienists have thought about or are thinking about doing something outside clinical.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, being a sales rep, consultant, or whatever. And so I want to ask you, if somebody wanted to do that kind of thing, either with your company or other companies, or just in general, what are some of the things you think they should be doing outside clinic, to maybe get their foot in the door or get into that kind of stuff?
I look at like the model that Waterpik has set up. Waterpik is they are up to 83 hygienists that are trained to do lunch and learns, paid on a 1099 basis. It's fairly well managed, meaning after the lunch and learn is complete, the way that I understand that it goes down is that Waterpik follows it up with a phone call to the office and kind of completes a questionnaire to make sure that the mission was accomplished, before the hygienist gets paid. But what a great model! What a great model! I mean, that's one avenue. Contemporary Product Solutions, Shannon Pace Brinker's company. They're in charge of all of Invisalign training. And so they've got a large team of hygienists that's growing, that is trained to go out and perform training on Invisalign in general DDS offices.
Right.
Career Fusion is a rather large investment, but Career Fusion is something that I believe in passionately. I have seen with my own eyes careers transform. And hygienists that have gone to Career Fusion who are interested in much more than cleaning teeth for a living. They see themselves as speaking and writing and reviewing new products and being field evaluators and maybe getting into sales and whatever. And the way that the whole Career Fusion model is set up, it's built to cater to hygienists who are looking at doing more with their RDH degree than just cleaning teeth for a living.
Yeah.
We are American Eagle Instruments is a corporate partner of Career Fusion, so I've been for the past 3 consecutive years. It's a fabulous time. And as I'm sitting here talking to you, and as I read your blog and such, I mean, you're actually the type of hygienist that would love Career Fusion.
Yeah, I've heard about it, and I checked out the website and things like that, and it does look very interesting. Yeah,
you would love Career Fusion, but I'll be honest with you. You're because of what you're already doing. You've already undertaken certain leadership things with your knowledge, with your degree, with your experience. This blog, this interview is a perfect example.
Yeah.
When I got to Career Fusion 2013, my second year, I was having breakfast the first morning with Edie Gibson. Do you know Edie?
I've heard the name. I'm not sure.
Edie Gibson is without a doubt one of the foremost experts on implant maintenance. She was lectured all over the world.
Yeah.
she and I are having breakfast, and I just kind of leaned in close, and I said, Edie, I'm having a hard time understanding why you're here. These people aspire to be what you already are.
Right.
I mean, you're already well written, and you just came back from Saudi Arabia where you were lecturing on implant maintenance and all this. And I think that the reason why she went became really, really small compared to what she really, truly got out of the meeting.
Right.
I think she went looking for, like, corporate support. Mm-hmm. And she left there with just dozens of new opportunities and, companies, executives that she met that she never even knew these companies existed, and just the internetworking that goes on between hygienists. And right. It's really a really cool thing. I was talking about Career Fusion today at lunch with Cheryl Frazier, because she, like, not so much like you, but she aspires to be more what you're already doing. She is one of the Invisalign trainers with CPS already, so she's already kind of got something going there. But there's so much more that somebody like Cheryl could be doing with her 18 years of experience and having practice in like 6 different major metropolitan areas. So yeah, it's a cool. It's not cheap, but it's something else.
I think a lot of hygienists too. They not just hygienists, but just people in general. They they know a certain path. You go to school, you get a job that's advertised, or you apply for a job. I think a lot of this stuff you have to create yourself in a sense, or just think outside the box. Like you can't sit back and wait for a company like yours or whoever to have an advertisement for a job. Looking for a hygienist to do this. You have to kind of get in there and.
Yeah, I mean the advertisement's not going to happen. People beat my door down for this kind of stuff.
Right.
And some of that's our connection to Career Fusion and the fact that I'm kind of out there on social media and people know how to get a hold of me or whatever. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you that I don't have to tell you, jobs are tight out there, salaries are falling, and people are desperately looking for other avenues.
Yeah, absolutely. Even just, like doing hygiene, like for me personally, I work full-time as a hygienist now. My goal is not to work full-time. It's just to work, 2 days a week. Right. I don't know if you know, but I designed two products that I sell too. So I do make money on that also.
Okay.
So I'm almost to the point where I could, cut back, but not quite yet. But, I can't picture myself doing it for 20 years more. Clinical, full-time. It's tough on the body, as you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Plus people. I love hygiene. I love dental, but doing it for 20 years and just clinical, it's gonna get burned out a little bit, So.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think as a company, we take a lot of pride in helping hygienist health just a little bit. Mm-hmm. If there's one thing that was readily apparent to me when I transitioned over in this business, is the fact that dental hygienists they're just broken. I mean, they're just broken. Their bodies are in such bad shape, and people aren't wearing loupes, and people are wheeling around on crappy stools in the operatory. And I think we take very, very seriously that if you're using an instrument that is always sharp, you discard it and replace it when it begins to dull.
Right.
As opposed to something that you sharpen down to nothing, or you just don't. You're not good at sharpening or whatever. We take a lot of pride in bringing to market something that helps an otherwise very risky profession.
Right. And plus, in today's world, as you know, with insurance and corporate dentistry and all this, there's more pressure to do hygiene assist, speed things up, see more patients, more volume.
Right.
So it's even more reason that you want to be as efficient as possible, make it as easy as possible on yourself.
Agreed.
Yeah. Buy your own loops, buy your own instruments, right?
Buy your own crowns. Buy your own crown stool, also.
Yeah, I have that too. I have a saddle. I have loops. I have you name it. I have it.
Also, I have a Virtue chair. I have 2 chairs here in my office. One's my Virtue chair, and I spend more time in that actually.
Right. I need like a stand-up desk is what I need.
yeah, I could use a stand-up desk too.
All right, Louis, I think I kind of hit on all the points. How can hygienists contact you if they have any questions, or what's the best place to to contact you?
Send me an email.
All right.
Love to hear from you. Love to talk to you. L Meyers, that's L-M-E-Y-E-R-S at am-eagle.com.
Yep.
We're nowhere without our hygienists. I'd love to hear from them.
And where are you going to be in the near future? Like, maybe any conventions or?
I'll be at ADHA. ADHA and RDH under one roof are the two meetings I would never in a million years ever miss. My favorite two shows of the year because they're hygiene focused. All hygiene, it's it's right in our wheelhouse. So
is that in Las Vegas this year? That one, the ADHA, or
ADHA is in Vegas at Caesars, and Under One Roof's in Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah. I've been to Yankee, and I went to the ADHA one in Boston. That's where I met you in person the one time.
Yeah.
You gave me the blackjack instrument that I still have, because I have my full set, so I had that one by itself, so I'm going to add it to my other...
I gave you that in Boston at Yankee or at ADHA?
ADHA.
Oh, okay, because I've been to this past Yankee meeting back in January is the first one I've missed in 3 years.
Yeah.
Or first one it's the first one I've missed, and a couple of things just had to give in my crazy schedule. Yankee was one of them this year.
Mm-hmm. All right, Louis, I appreciate you doing this. This is great.
Quick question. I see the bike pump on the floor behind you. Are you a cyclist?
Yes, I am. I see Lance Armstrong behind you. Yeah.
You're an avid roadie?
Both. I'm racing mountain bikes again.
Oh, yeah.
And I race road bikes. I raced a lot back in the 90s.
You did?
I stopped racing in 98. I just kind of got sick of the 3-hour bike rides. Training, and I always kept riding ever since. And then last year I decided to get into racing again.
Okay, but mountain off-road only?
I want to do road bikes too. I think there's a race coming up on the 8th next month. I think I'm going to do.
Okay.
I wasn't quite in the same shape last year. So I'm in better shape this year. I've been training, so.
Oh, good.
Hopefully I'll do better. I'm back in Cat 3 a mountain, but I want to try to get back to Cat 2.
Nice.
That's what I used to be.
I got into road cycling about 11 or 12 years ago when a buddy of mine asked me to do an MS-150 with him.
Yeah.
And I did it on a borrowed Trek. I think the longest ride that I had done training for a 180-mile ride over 2 days was 38 miles, and I got done with that ride. I was hooked. I was in love. And anyway, a couple road bikes later, my Lance painting there. When we when we built this house, when that built in, my wife bought me that painting. It commemorates all 7 of his tour wins.
Yeah.
My wife bought me that painting, and I had the built to the specs of the painting.
Yeah.
So now everybody says, "What the hell are you going to do with that painting? It's friggin' worthless now."
I said I'll keep it anyway.
I got nothing better to put in there, so that's where it sits.
Yeah. I was stationed. I was in the Air Force for 10 years, and I was stationed in Germany from '92 to '96, and I saw one of the stages of Tour de France in '96. Because I got the Bicycling magazine. I just saw the map. I was like an hour away from the finish line for that stage. That was '96. Lance was he got sick that year. He
That's right.
Yeah, he got out.
That's right. He was in the middle of his whole chemo thing.
Yeah. But he was there at the stage because I think he went through maybe, I don't even know, a couple of stages. Then he was sick. He had a flu or something, and then he had to go.
Okay.
But he was on the Motorola team at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, the thing I miss about Europe is how much they love cycling.
And how safe it is.
Yes, they're so into it. It's soccer and cycling.
Yeah. 5 years ago, my wife and I had our 15-year anniversary. My same buddy that got me into cycling, he and his wife got married a month after us. Mm-hmm. So the 4 of us went to Italy for our 15-year anniversary, and we kind of synced it up with the Giro. And so we were there for stage 1, which was a team time trial, and 5 years ago was Lance's return to stage racing.
Yeah.
And so we were there on Lido, which is a little island off the coast of Venice, for the team time trial. It was so great.
Yeah.
It was so great being in the middle of that craziness, you know. And then, you know, the tour went on, and then Ed and I, we actually cycled up there in Lake Como up in the Dolomites for a couple days. Just hey, we're Texas Flatlanders. We're just, you know, up there climbing mountains and trying to just stay upright. You know, it was a ball.
I was stationed in Oklahoma too, Altus, Oklahoma. I don't know if it's, I was there for 3 years. It's my favorite place.
Yeah.
I raced in Texas once. I forgot where it was, but it was more in northern Texas.
Okay.
So I kind of got used to the heat. And in the summertime, we used to go on club rides, road rides, and we used to have to ride at 7 o'clock because it was so hot. You know,
well, that's what I mean. It's, you know, it's tomorrow is, you know, we're here in the end of May. It's already hotter than hell down here. So I'll leave my house Saturday mornings. Obviously, the big club ride morning. You know, so tomorrow I'll leave here at 6:30. I'll link in with my group at 7:30, and I'll pull in the driveway tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll probably ride about 80 or 83. That's typically that's a long Saturday.
Yeah.
That's a long Saturday. It's actually about a 60-mile ride, but I choose to ride to the start.
Yeah.
And then ride home from the finish, and it ends up being about 83 by the time I pull in the driveway. But it makes for a hell of an afternoon nap at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I have a race on Sunday, but I just got an email from the promoter. They said the parking lot's flooded.
That's a problem.
We have so much rain; it's all muddy up there, so I might have to skip that. I want to do the road ride.
Now, where do you live?
I live about 30 miles, 20 miles south of Boston. I live in Taunton, Mass. Yeah.
Are you active in your local hygiene component?
No.
You're not. Okay.
I mean, I go to, like, sometimes they have CE courses or whatever, but I'm not like active in the chapter or anything like that.
Okay.
But I should be. But
one of the things that's coming my way with increasing frequency is these speaking opportunities. And I was in New Hampshire last month. I had a back-to-back dental hygiene component lectures.
Yeah.
I was in New Jersey twice, back-to-back last month also. It's something I enjoy very much, and I show up normally with a free instrument for everybody in attendance.
There you go.
So what I'll do, after we get off, I'll email you the flyer that we've used for these.
Okay.
Forward it on, if you don't mind. Forward it on to the person in that component that lines up speakers, and see if there's any interest. There's no charge to bring me out to speak.
Yeah, I know the person that's in my local chapter. She was in my hygiene school. So. Okay. Yeah, so I have a little connection there. I can.
Oh, okay.
Let her know.
I'll send you the flyer. Send it on. See if there's any interest there.
All right. All right, Louis. So I appreciate it.
All right, Mark.
I have quite a few lined up interviews. I'm trying to do, like I told you, I'm trying to do, like, it's a hygiene focus, but not just hygienists. You know, like, obviously I have you. Tomorrow I'm doing Doug Perry. I don't know if you know Doug Perry.
I know of Doug Perry.
Yeah, he's gethiredrdh.com. He has a cool story. He has like a marketing background too. His wife is a hygienist. He graduated in 2010. You know, it was a tight job market, and he kind of took his marketing skills to help her find a job. And now they have a website, they have a book, and they help a lot of hygienists look for jobs. So,
did you ever speak to Shirley Smith?
Not yet. No, I'm gonna contact her as soon as I'm ready, like probably a week before.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me know if you have any other needs, just because of my tentacles that are out there touching a lot of people. I'm more than happy to...
Yeah, I mean, anybody you think, I have probably like maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 people lined up. But anybody that's a hygienist, or just anybody that's like in the hygiene world that is doing something interesting, something outside general clinical stuff, you know, that's...
Yeah. Do you know Debbie Sabatini?
I'm not sure.
She also goes by Debbie Zafiropoulos.
Zafiropoulos, that's a long name.
She's Greek. I think her married name is Sabatini. Debbie, again, Debbie's a career fusionista, but Debbie's area of expertise is HPV. So she's a real interesting interview.
Yeah, you mentioned Suzanne Newkirk. You know, she's into the perioscopy and all that stuff.
She's
on my list. I already contacted her. She's probably going to be, I don't know when, but I'm going to contact her too. And
oh, good.
talk about, because I know she does like consulting and training and periodicity
Uh,
and all that stuff. So that's pretty interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Angie Stone, Angie's in Wisconsin, and Angie was the Sunstar Butler Award winner in 2012 because of her work with the elderly.
Hmm.
Oral health, the elderly, and spent a lot of time in nursing homes. She's got a nice lecture, nice story to tell. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you some more names.
Okay, I appreciate that.
You bet.
All right, Louis. Thank you. I appreciate
All
it.
right.
I'll
All
probably
right,
have
buddy.
this
Have a great
posted.
weekend.
I'll have this posted maybe in a week or so, and I'll let you know.
Awesome. Can't wait
All
to
right.
read it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.